And I have to look back. This is your 10th DWI. It's not your 5th. It's not your 8th.
10 DW is, think about that for a second. Most people don't even get one. This isn't just bad luck or a mistake. This is a full-blown pattern. And here's the kicker. Every time the system gave her another chance, probation, parole, treatments, she slipped back. So now the judge is wrestling with a brutal question. How many chances are too many?
It's the 10th. And while I understand the trauma that you went through, that you've been to safe P3 times, you've been given opportunities on probation where they were revoked. You've had opportunities while you were on parole to do what you have done now. And while I appreciate what you've done, and I think that's great, and my goal isn't to, to stop any improvement, but I can't, in my opinion, in good faith, go home tonight, look myself in the mirror and say I gave somebody on their 10th.
Notice the judge stacking up the years. 10, 15, another 15. These aren't small sentences. And yet each time she comes back, out and reoffends. This is why habitual offender laws exist. The idea is to protect the public when someone just can't or won't change. But here's the real tension. Has she finally turned a corner? Or is this history about to repeat itself again?
WI, that your last sentence was for 15 years in prison. The one before that was for 10. The one before that, you've gone to another 10 years, back in 09. I mean, this goes back to the 90s. You got a 10-year sentence in 2011. While you're on parole for that one, you get another one, so they give you 15 years, and you get out and you're on parole and you do it again. Ma'am, are you Katherine Welch? And Ms. Welch is here with her attorney, Mr. Gertz. State's attorney is present. Ms. Welch was previously in court, entered a plea of guilty to driving while intoxicated, third or more, as well as a prior offense, which made it a second-degree felony offense. There was no agreement with regard to punishment. I have received the pre-sentence report. And has everyone had an opportunity to review that report?
We have, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to that report?
Not from the state, other than I want to acknowledge I have received Mr. Gertz's sentencing memorandum.
I'm going to get to that too in just a second. Any additions or corrections?
Aside from the one comment that I make in the sentencing memoranda about a comment that she made about rehabilitation, I think it's more of a clarification, so I'm happy to touch on that. But other than that, we don't have any additions or corrections.
Okay. And Ms. Smallfino has already stated, as well as I received the sentencing memorandum at 5:47 p.m. yesterday. Going to point that out for the record.
The Harris County judge got her sentencing memoranda at midnight. So.
Well, it was reviewed quite early this morning, but I did review it. Ms. Smallfino, you've had time to review it as well?
Same.
Okay. Other than that, I think you all should have a couple, there's only a few, but there were some jail incident reports that should have been provided to counsel. Did you both receive those as well?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, is everyone ready to proceed with sentencing then?
Yes, Judge.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Gertz, do you have witnesses?
I'm not going to call any live witnesses unless the court requires it. When we have a person present from the Dream Center, if the court wants to inquire about that, I would essentially let her come up and talk if you want to have that conversation. But
okay.
I think our focus here is going to be on the topics that we talk about or write about in the sentencing memo, and just sort of allowing, if the court decides to do what we're asking you to do, we are open and welcome to whatever the court requires of her.
Sure.
To enter and successfully complete. We just wanted you to have that option on the table as well. That
okay.
is an option that doesn't cost the court anything.
Right.
The state anything.
And for the record, I'm aware of the Dream Center and their program and what they do. And so if I have any specific questions, if we get to something where I would need that, then I appreciate them being here and I'll ask those questions. Ms. Malfino, does the state have any witnesses? All right, then,
Okay, this is where it gets interesting. The defense is painting a very different picture. Redemption. Arc, they're basically saying, yes, her record is awful. But look at the last 3 years. Rehab, therapy, AA, stable support systems. She's actually doing the work. So what do you do as a judge? Do you punish the past or reward the present?
argument.
Judge, I want to, I recognize this is a unique case and a unique ask that we're making here. This is not something small that we're asking for. I have sort of personally taken Katherine on over the last 3+ years, I guess almost 4 years, as a project for me, if that makes any sense. And what I mean by that is I really wanted to put to the test, could this person do everything that I asked her to do to at least get her an opportunity to be here in front of you asking what we're asking for. She exceeded my expectations by doing the 90-day inpatient rehabilitation. And while she was there, she started to explore with her counselors and her therapists there some of the underlying issues that went beyond just physical addiction, but actually had to do with her mental health and some of the things that she's experienced in her life. I'm not going to detail them on the record, but the court is aware of what those things are. Incredibly traumatic events that I think she had repressed and had never really addressed and explored. And so those counselors recommended not just aftercare, but a specific outpatient program to address some of the trauma issues that she's had. She went and checked into that program, stayed for basically a year, and again, did everything we asked her to do. When I told her to go get her own drug patch, I told her to go get her own interlock device. She did all of that. Those records should be attached to the memo. She was successful, has been following the rules, doing everything we've asked her to do, had been going to AA, had gotten a counselor, actually reached out and befriended the director of the Dream Center to try to figure out what she can do next to sort of commit herself to her sobriety and to fixing the mental health issues that I think stem from the challenges that she faced as a young person. Sometimes it's easy to look at one side of the ledger, the rap sheet or the criminal history, and think that defines this person. What I have been fortunate enough to do is to really dig down and get to understand her as a human, and see that all the progress she's made, all the effort she's made, and see what she's done well and all the problems that she's been addressing well. She's obviously very anxious about this day, but we've been looking forward to this day as well, to be able to present that. And I want to go down on the bottom of page 2, address what I was talking about in the CSI. So that I'm not saying that this wasn't the words that came out of her mouth, but when she was asked by one of the examiners in the probation report if she felt she needed treatment, she said she didn't feel like she needed treatment. She wasn't opposed either. I want to clarify what we mean by that. I say this here, but what she would say, I think, is she did 90 days of detox rehab related treatment, has continued aftercare, has continued mental health care. But in terms of going to a program that is specifically targeted at people who are currently using or currently intoxicated, I think she thought that wasn't the direction that would be ideal. She will do whatever you want her to do, but I wanted to explain what that comment means. And so there's a lot of times, as you know, Judge, private rehabilitation programs will just reject you if you've been clean for 3+ years, as she has. And so they just won't even accept you at all. So I think that was just a misunderstanding or a miscommunication between the probation officer and Katherine. But nonetheless, she's willing to do whatever the court chooses here. Additionally, we've been in contact with her current parole officer. They are willing to keep her on parole.
What did you catch that? Even the prosecutor admits locking her up over and over hasn't changed her behavior. That's rare honesty from the state. It's like prison hasn't worked, but probation feels like too big of a risk. So they throw it back to the judge. And here's where the tension skyrockets. Whatever happens next sets a precedent for how far mercy can stretch.
Instead of revoking her, depending on what the court does here. And so that was encouraging as well. I think we had the same kinds of conversations with them about her recovery and about her efforts. And so I think that was an encouraging sign from them. And then finally, Judge, you see, we didn't want to focus too much on support from the community because, again, this isn't just a run-of-the-mill case. This is a different focus. But she is married. She has a family. She recognizes the impact that all of this has had on her family and her relationships, the strain it has put on her husband, both financially and also emotionally. And she accepts responsibility for that and is asking the court to consider this extremely rare position that we're asking the court to take here. Obviously, if the court would like her to address the court, she is happy to do that, or I'm not sure how you will proceed on that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Malfino?
Judge, I don't envy the position that the court is in this morning. I do take very seriously the comments of Mr. Burks. I take him at his word for that, and I hope that all of those things are true. It's difficult for me as a representative of Jefferson County and the state and the citizens that were on the roads every day to stand up and say I agree with probation, but I don't disagree with the things that Mr. Gertz has said and the information that is in his sentencing memo. To play the other side of the coin, does it suggest that she received the benefit of the doubt already by me waiving the habitual status that she could have been facing?
This is the human side of the story. For the first time, Katherine herself takes the floor, owning up to her mistakes and linking them to untreated trauma and mental health struggles. This is powerful testimony, but here's the question. Should deeply personal struggles outweigh the danger she posed to others on the road? That's the razor's edge this case balances on.
Based on her number of priors, does it seem in good conscience that I can say I ignore all of those priors? Absolutely not. But obviously, we have seen that her multiple trips to the penitentiary have resulted in no change of behavior until hopefully now, in these last 3 years. And I do sympathize with Ms. Welch as an individual. Again, it's hard for me as a district attorney, assistant district attorney, to say that I concur with the punishment being probation, but I don't, again, disagree with the comments that Mr. Gertz has. We've had multiple conversations about this case. I know he's worked very diligently at it. I don't really know, Judge, and that's why it's before you, that putting her in prison for 20 years and her getting out in 2 versus an extensive probation period where she could continue